Well, hello, hello, hello. I cannot believe that I had technical difficulties today. Like literally, um it was it just wasn't working. I pushed start the stream and it did not stream. And then I had to literally reload the whole thing to get this off the ground, but it is here. I know we're about 5 minutes late getting started, but I am so grateful to be here today. And so hopefully everyone can see me. It looks like I may have been able to properly get Instagram off the ground as well, because that has been a challenge for me since I've started this live. But it looks like I am on and I'm excited. Yes. Okay. So good afternoon officially and welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your day to tune in to Dr. Tonya Live. Before we dive in, which is what I've been doing every day, we're going to ground ourselves in this scripture. It's Ephesians 2:10, which says this: For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. That's really good news because it means that we're not an accident, we're not a mistake. The business that we're building, the business that you're building, the dream that won't let you go, that's part of what He planned long ago for you. So, whatever happens, I want you to walk away understanding not only your identity, but also that God has plans for you. And it's your job to simply walk in those plans. So, I do have a favor that I would like to ask you, and that favor is this: please share so that your networks, especially if you have people who you know who want to start a business, so your networks can also tune in. I would like for you to like the video, to follow, and to subscribe to whichever social media platform you are currently using. Thank you again so much for joining me. We are actually on eight, day eight of my 90-day challenge. So every single day, I have challenged myself to show up live every day to encourage women and some men, because there are men that have been joining, who are ready to start a business, women who've already started, but they need support getting it off the ground, women who are looking to build and grow what they've already started. So, again, if you're a man on here, that's okay. You could be on here because what I'm saying is really gender neutral. It really doesn't have to be, but I know my audience typically has been women. And even when I look at my analytics, about 70% of the people that log on and view my videos are women. So, don't mind me if you see me kind of shifting and talking more to the woman, because that is the majority of my audience. But if you are a man on here, I want you to feel welcome. But I do thank you for being here. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Tanya. I'm just introducing myself. And this is Dr. Tanya Live, real talk for women building their businesses. So this is our live, and I am talking today about the myth of readiness. Okay, so you might be wondering, like, what are you talking about? What do you mean, the myth of readiness? Meaning, you don't actually have to be ready to start your own business. You don't have to really be ready for that. Or you may think that you have to be fully ready, but you really don't. I saw something where there was some research that says that there's a connection between perfectionism, procrastination, and fear of failure, which is often goes into it. I'm going to use these things as a disguise. So they are a disguise for readiness. So readiness is often disguised in the form of um, perfectionism or procrastination or fear of failure, but really it's fear. All of it is based in fear. And we have talked about fear for the last 8 days. Somehow it has come up each time we have these conversations. And I want you to understand that the power that fear can have over us when we are looking to do something new is strong. Fear can be very strong. Fear can be the thing that stands in the way of you being able to finally do what God has called you to do, to finally be able to launch out on your own, to finally be able to do something that you never thought in a million lifetimes that you could accomplish. But if God gave you these dreams, they can become a reality. And so when we talk about this topic of the myth of readiness, what often happens is people will say, well, I can't get this business started because I don't know everything I need to know about getting it started yet, or, um, you know, I have other things that are a priority right now. I have to work. That takes up most of my time. I've got to do my job, working for the man. I'm kidding. You may not work for the man. Um, but you may find that these things can stand in the way of you being ready. Um, I think about just this 90-day challenge that I've given to myself. And some of you have been with me from the very beginning, and we're only 8 days in. So we still have another 82 days left to go of this live. But I can tell you, I started talking about doing this live sometime early in 2025. And I just internally just kept coming up with all these excuses. Well, I don't even know what I would talk about. And I mean, who's going to listen to me? Um, I've never gone live like that and like to just talk for like, I mean, I've done podcasts, but it was different. But actually it's not that different. But for some reason, I told myself that it's got to be just so if I'm going to be able to go live, right? If I'm going to be able to do this. And I literally had to kind of push past my own fears and not only push past them, but I had to confront the fears and then push past them and just do it. That's what I had to do. And so I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, come up with a list of topics for 90 days that I'm going to talk about to help people who are interested in getting their businesses off the ground and building the businesses that they've started, but they haven't done anything with. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to stop thinking about it and overthinking it and rationalizing all the reasons why I can't do it right now, because that's what we do when we are scared. Because really, this myth of readiness oftentimes is just us standing behind what we know is fear, just us being scared to step out there and do something and put ourselves out there. Like I'm putting myself out here every single day. I don't even know all the people that are tuning in. I can't see you. So, but I'm doing it and I'm doing it in faith. And faith plus action, is what faith really is all about. It is about moving and doing, not just believing, but actually doing what you believe and showing folks that you believe it by doing. So, cuz faith without works is what? Dead. So I don't want to have dead faith. I want my faith to be demonstrated in the steps that I take. So I said yes to myself, if you will, yes to my team who had been saying, you need to go live. I said yes, and I started to do that even before I was ready. And sometimes you'll never actually be ready. And this whole idea of readiness and hiding behind, I need to be ready, is really you saying, I'm probably scared. And if I'm scared, I can't or I won't take the steps and make the moves necessary to do what you are being called to do. So I want to challenge you to, if fear is standing in your way, if something is saying, you're not ready, you can't do this, you're not ready, then I want you to say to that, I can do this. I can take this step. I can move forward. I can be successful at doing something different and necessary. And here's the thing that I've learned. So, day 1, I was shaking in my boots. And I still get a little nervous right before I, go live each day, even though I'm, 8 days in. However, I have found that when I take steps of faith and I make action, when you take steps of faith, when you take action to do the thing to build that new business, confidence will rise in you. So I have found my own confidence levels going up because I said yes and I'm doing it every single day. I am showing up every day to have these conversations with you. We gain our confidence just by taking action. It's almost like building the plane as you fly it. So I remember when I worked for the State Department of Education and my commissioner asked me to have a conference, a statewide conference. I've never had a statewide conference. I've had small like marriage conferences at that point, and I know what it is to kind of do something on a small scale, but I had never had like a statewide conference on education. And that was like, you know, that was because I at that time I was leading the Office of Professional Learning. So it made sense that this was something that would come out of my office. And this was something he envisioned. And so he's like, Tanya, tag you're it. Now I want you to take this idea and run with it. And so I didn't know. I didn't feel like I was necessarily ready. I hadn't like been doing a lot of things to prepare myself, but he entrusted me with it. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I pulled my team together. We had meetings and conversations. I pulled other teams together. We had meetings and conversations. And before long, it was happening, for 3 years in a row. And so, and in the first year, I did have to build the plane as I was flying it. So we put out to the public, we are going to have this statewide conference. We need people who are interested in presenting to give us proposals. We literally are making up everything as we go along. And that is okay, even when you're starting a new business. I'll never forget when I wrote the book, this book here, Fight to Make It Happen. I wrote that book in 2015. And I had written a children's book previous to that, but I had this desire to write a book for adults. And I knew that this was something that was inside me that needed to come out. I needed to do this. And even writing a book is a business because once you write that book, it's a whole business to get it out to the world. But as I was writing the book, as I started the process of writing the book, I had to do something that seemed impossible. I could have said, well, I'm not really ready to write this book. And I've never really written a book before. And, I don't know. I could have done all of the things. I could have been scared. I could have thought about just, perfectionism and been like, this needs to be in place and I need to research this and I need to do this. I need to make sure that I have these things in place and I've got to have a website and a marketing plan. And, you start thinking about all the things that you need and all of those things will stop you from moving forward because those are the things that oftentimes, if you're a perfectionist, now I'm not a perfectionist, but I can have some perfectionist like tendencies from time to time. But ultimately, what could happen is that could stand in the way of you're actually starting, you're actually doing the work. So, what I did to kind of push myself, I actually made the date. I created the date for the uh what was it? The book read not the book reading, the book launch. I actually created the date for the book launch. I set the date, several months ahead. And I said, I will be doing a book launch on this date at this location. So I found a location. The book was not written. I did not have the book written, but I put it out there and I told people to save the date. And what it did was it held me accountable to what I said I was going to do. So sometimes you may have to do something like hold yourself accountable while you're building the plane and trying to fly it at the same time. So I'm trying to write this book and trying to launch it at the same time. But how many of you know that I met my goal? Because I said it, I said it out loud. I made people aware of it, and then I had to be held accountable. I did not want to be a liar to the public. I didn't want the public to say, "Hey, you're doing this thing. You said you were going to do this, and now you're not." I didn't want people to come back and say, "I thought you were. Didn't you say that?" I didn't want that. And so I said it. And then I did it. But it forced me to have to rise to the occasion. So yes, I did have to build the plane as I was flying it. You might have to build the plane as you're flying it. But it's time for you to move past this myth of I have to be ready before I can get my business started. You can be working on yourself, you could be working on what getting started looks like while you're getting started, while you're doing the work. It is possible to do that. Here's the other thing when we're starting our own businesses, especially if you're a brand new entrepreneur and you've never done this before, there is grace for the new entrepreneur. So you have opportunities, and even if you're an experienced entrepreneur, you have opportunities to test what you're doing. So you can say, hey, I want to see if this will work. So, for example, I remember a good friend of mine was hosting a 1 day or intensive or training of some sort, and she was charging, I want to say maybe, I don't know, $97 or something. And I said to her, "You are grossly undercharging." And she's like, "I know. I'm just trying to test it right now." You can test your products and your services. You can do it for free for a while so that you can get people to trust you and trust that you can deliver on what your business is supposed to promise. You can test it to see if this works better than that. You can test to see which audiences really need the service that you are going to provide or the product that you're going to create and provide to your audience. You don't have to have all of the answers when you're starting a brand new business. You can explore, you can decide like whether or not this option or this route is going to be the better option or the better route for you. And that is okay. Sometimes that helps us to be able to know, okay, this is a better direction that I should be taking. You don't have to have it all figured out. That myth of you have to be ready is just that. It is a myth. Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be prepared. That's a whole nother story there. So even though when I was, even though I didn't feel ready to do these 90 days, going live here on all these social media platforms, even though I didn't feel that I was ready, I still did preparation. So you still have to prepare. So you can say, "Hey, I'm open for business," but there are some things that you've got to do to make sure your business is open. So you're going to have to have an EIN for your business. You're going to need a name for your business. Some people put the cart before the horse, but you're going to need to make sure that you have a legal structure for your business. All of these things are important. Like, is it going to be a sole proprietorship or an LLC? Or is it going to be an S Corp or a C Corp? You'll need to do some homework and prepare yourself. However, don't believe that you have to have all of these pieces in place for you to actually get started, because that is a myth, i.e., that is a lie. So sometimes we also feel like I'm not ready because I don't have a plan. So get a plan. Put a plan in place. It doesn't mean it has to be the perfect plan. It doesn't mean that the plan has to have all of the details of what you're going to do to get this business off the ground. It could be that you have a skeleton of a plan, just enough to get you started and to get you moving. And then you go back and you refine that plan. And maybe you have to work with a coach like me or someone else who is going to help you develop that plan so that it is robust enough for the business to actually grow, for you to actually bring in revenue and to earn an income from your business. Now, some people may be doing a business as a side hustle, and that's okay too. The same thing for you. You still have to have some kind of a plan. And so take the time to develop that plan. But even developing the plan is considered a step forward. It's considered a step of faith, because there's a whole scripture that talks about write the vision and make it plain. So writing that vision is really saying, "Hey, I've got this idea, this dream for this business, whether it's a service-based business or a product-based business, whether you're selling something that people can tangibly take and purchase from you, or whether you're selling a service like I often will sell the service, on the one side of my business, we sell the service of training and development for school districts. On the other side of my business, it's coaching and development for leaders and individuals. So whatever it is that you are doing, whether you're an accountant or a painter or someone who makes jewelry or who just, sells jewelry, whatever it is, whatever the business is, you may need a plan, and that's okay. You may need some training. That's part of your preparation. That's okay too. Here's the thing. When I started Teach Educators and Scholars Organization in 2011, I had a skeleton of a plan. I had some ideas. I had drive. I didn't wait to be ready. I just started the business. Now, you might be saying, "Didn't you tell us that you were failing after the first 6 months?" Yes, I was, because I did not plan and I didn't prepare myself. So what I should have done was a better job of understanding what it is to get a business started and what I would need for this business to get started. But that was if I had done that up front, I probably could have saved myself 6 months of a headache. But that's okay. I learned from it. I see these as lessons that have helped me to grow, and it has gained my confidence. And it's why I can sit here and have these conversations with you and encourage you, because I learned from my mistakes. I didn't have a me who was telling me some of these things in advance, which would have been wonderful if I had that mentor, if I had that coach who could provide that support and walk alongside me. So that's why I do this, because I know what it is to like launch out there on a whim, in a sense. For me, it was kind of like that, and not really have a real clue about what it takes to get a business started. But there are people and there are resources that are available to you so that you feel like you're able to prepare yourself and you feel more confident in readying yourself to get this business off the ground. And that's really what it's all about. It's the idea here is that you are moving forward. So, moving forward, the preparation process is part of your moving forward. But if you never prepare, you'll never be able to launch. Not unless you do like me and you launch first and then prepare afterwards. But that's not the preferred method. Some people can do that, and some people might be successful. But I recommend that you do some preparation, and that is part of your readiness process. And that readiness entails whatever your plan looks like. So that plan could be a 90-day plan. That plan could be a 6-month plan. It could be a 1 year, 5 years, 10-year plan. Some people get very granular and build out the entire plan, and that's okay if you do that too. And depending on the kind of business, like if you're looking to purchase a franchise, you may need to have certain things in place so that when you go to the bank to say, "Hey, I need $250,000 to purchase this franchise that I want to launch in this area," you've got a solid plan in place. But how many of you know that developing that solid plan is you taking a step in readying yourself to get this business? And even if you do say, "Hey, I want to, purchase a franchise rather than build something from the ground up," because you have those options. I've got friends who have done that. There's still training involved in that. And so you're going to want to do your research, and you're going to want to understand the market, and you're going to want to understand the needs of the people. This is all a part of jumping in and getting started. And this is what I want to encourage you to do, and not let your fear hold you back, because fear will do just that. Fear will tell you you can't do it. You can't do it right now. You don't have the money to do it. You don't have the know how, but the know how is out there. The money is out there. Here's what I learned a long time ago. You can do anything, anything if you want to, and that there is a way for you to do anything you want to do if you really want to do it. So if you really want to build this business, there are resources, financial resources for you to do it. Some people only build businesses using other people's money. They call that OPM, other people's money. You don't even use your own money to get the business started. But maybe you don't need a whole lot of overhead costs. You don't have a whole lot of overhead costs to get your business off the ground. So if it's a consulting business, you may not need a whole lot of money to start your consulting business. But if you're looking to purchase a Chick-fil-A franchise or Dairy Queen, or I don't know, whatever the franchises that are out there, you're going to probably need other people's money to help you do that. And that's okay, because a lot of wealthy people, in fact, I follow a lot of channels of entrepreneurs and business owners and people who are in the wealth finance industry. And a lot of times what I will hear is there are those who are billionaires with the letter B, who never use their own money to get their businesses off the ground. They never use their own money. So that means that there really aren't very many excuses for why you can't build and get your business off the ground. There are resources. The Small Business Administration provides grants sometimes and loans that have different and more flexible terms than the bank might have for small businesses. So I'm dropping some nuggets here. So you don't have to have excuses for why you can't get your business off the ground. But again, many of us may know all of that, but fear alone will stand in the way. It will stand between us and the dream that we have. That's the reason why so many people can say that they have been dreaming about starting a business for years. The thing that stops a lot of people is fear. Fear stands in the way of so many people, but it disguises itself. It disguises itself in a lot of different ways that make you think that it's not fear. But when you peel back the layers, procrastination, there's fear behind procrastination. There's fear behind perfectionism. There's fear behind a lot of things that stop us, that we use as excuses, and ultimately it stops us from being able to move forward. But if you have this dream and you look forward, say 3 years from now, and you've never taken a step in 3 years, and you look back, aren't you going to be disappointed in yourself because you never took a step and 3 years went by without you doing it? I think about some things that I wanted to do a year ago and didn't do. And when I look back, I'm like, I could have been so much further along had I just taken the steps. But I kept feeling like, well, you're not really ready. You don't have all the pieces in place. You don't have to have all the pieces in place to build your business. Just start. Get started. Take some steps. You will find that your own confidence level will be elevated. You'll be able to build your own capacity, your readiness capacity. The more that you do, the more steps that you take, you can be better prepared for your launch date, whatever that launch date is. Don't let time pass you by because you don't think that you're ready. Move, move and do the work that it takes for you to do it. But here's the thing, I don't want you to feel like you're all out there by yourself, you're all alone. I am more than willing to walk alongside you to help you, but I also have some tools and some resources that I can provide for you. So, one of the things that I want to share with you is an offer that I've been sharing since Monday of this week, and it's a free offer. So, it's really not a hard thing. A lot of us really have to do the work of on ourselves, and some of that work entails time with God and hearing from God. I have created a devotional and I want to share a little bit about that. So, if you find that fear is standing in the way of stopping you from being ready and taking the steps towards building and getting your business moving and off the ground, then this gift is for you. You can get it today, even in the next 2 or 3 minutes. You can actually see across my screen, you will see how you can get that by going onto my website. But for those of you who've been with me, you know that I've been talking about fear because fear is huge for most people who have a business idea. In the last 24 hours, I have spoken to 3 people about their fear. Three people about their fears, specifically about their fears. And so it tells me that this is something that is top of mind for a lot of folks. So it's really important. I don't want fear to stand in the way of your being able to birth the dream that God has given to you and for you to be able to move forward with that. So I created something called When Fear Knocks. It's a 10-day devotional. Um, it is geared towards women, but it's not like a man can't also use this devotional. I've already put it on my website, tonyabreland.com/resources, and you can actually go through this 10-day devotional at your own pace. Here's what makes it different. You don't just download it. You actually can download it, but it's right there on the page. So it's 10 days. Each day will give you a scripture. It'll give you a truth about how fear operates. It'll give you 3 journal questions that you can answer right there on your phone. You can just pick up your phone and you can literally just go through all of it at your own pace. It will save everything. I won't see it. Nobody else in the world will see it. It is just for your eyes only. So you can be fully expressive, fully transparent, and really explore what it is that is causing you to not move forward, what those fears are. So you're going to go from naming your fear, because naming your fear is really important, because you really can't confront what you haven't, you can't combat what you haven't confronted. So it'll take you all the way through day 10. And hopefully, by the time you get to day 10, you'll be able to say yes to what it is that God has given you. And then you can download it and you can print it out if you want to. But there is a PDF version if that's your preference, if you just prefer to download it right off the bat. But I want you to go to tonyabreland.com/resources when fear knocks. It's a 10-day devotional that is waiting for you, and it is free. It is complimentary. So you do not have to pay for it. Okay. Now, that's pretty much all that I have for you today. I want to thank you again for spending your lunch hour with me. I really don't take it lightly. This means a lot when you say, "Hey, I want to hear from you. I want to understand and learn from you." If today's conversation resonated with you in any way, I would love to hear from you. I'd love for you to inbox me. I'd love for you to send me a message, a DM, or shoot me an email at tonyabreland.com. It's also running across the screen. I read all of my messages. I read all of my emails. You can also visit me on the website, and you can contact me via my website, tonyabreland.com. Um, and that free resource is there. Again, when fear knocks, go to tonyabreland.com/resources, or you can just look up free resources and you can click on that link for that. Until tomorrow, where our topic is going to be showing up before you feel qualified. That's what we're going to address. However, tomorrow I am going to be doing the live at 6 p.m. I will be doing the live at 6 p.m. I will not be doing the live at noon because I won't be available at noon, but I will do it at 6 p.m. So tune in tomorrow evening for the live where we will talk about showing up before you feel qualified. Until then, know that God is waiting for you to say yes, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day.